welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at the Hornby Mixed Freight train set. This is my re-entry into the world of model railways after 30 years. I bought this set primarily because it's digital. I wanted to go digital, even though I had some stuff already. I've got a very limited amount of locos and track and anything else, so it's basically restarting, and there's obviously big advantages in going digital, which I'll come on to later. Mixed freight set, it's got 2 locomotives and some wagons. I'm not going to unpack the box, mainly because it's already been done and they're already out, but I just wanted to show you the box itself. The front cover's got the trains running and the contents of the box down here: 2 locos, 4 wagons, digital control and power, and the track, which is the track mat oval, outer oval, and the extra pack, which is the sidings. That set actually includes a track mat as well, but I haven't been using that. The back of the box is clearly a generic Hornby packaging. It shows the track mat fully made up and the extension packs needed to reach that level, and also some basic information about DCC control. So that's the box, and here's the individual items. We'll start with the diesel 08 shunter in British Rail green. Quick tour around. It's got yellow and black striped ends. I think Intercity 82 described them as wasp markings, which is I quite like that. It's quite amusing. It's very detailed. Not as obviously as detailed as the Bachmann 47, which is on one of my other videos. The handrails aren't fitted; they're kind of just painted, part of the mouldings. But there's rivets and panels there, and everything's there. Very detailed, fine labelling, the British Railways logo and the warnings for the overhead power lines. It hasn't obviously got spring-loaded buffers. None of these the lower end Hornby stuff has, but overall it's a nice detailed little model, and as we're about to see, it runs really well. It has drive directly to the centre wheels, and then obviously linked through the arms to the front and rear wheels, and there's pickup, electrical pickup on all wheels, and this one comes DCC fitted already as part of this set. A little steam shunter, same under the body. You've got drive to the central wheels and the link arms, and then pick up on all wheels. Not as detailed as the diesel, but that's just the nature of the original loco, I think. Where there's rivets and panels, they're shown, but there's a lot of smooth panels. Again, very detailed labelling, the numbering, and the British Rail logo is very nice. Nice to see the whistle and valves are in sort of shiny brass metal. That's a nice little touch. Also comes with an accessory pack, which has got in it a driver and fireman and some looks like vacuum pipes or brake pipes to fit on the front and the rear, as they're shown on the front of the box, the set box. But it's a nice neat little engine and well detailed. Tanker wagon, similar kind of standard. Nice detailing. The red plastic's quite plain overall. This model hasn't been painted at all. It's just the colour of the red is just the moulding of the plastic, and they just put labels on. The only thing that's been painted is probably the yellow wheel hubs. But overall, it's fairly well detailed. I've got a similar one by Bachmann, one of their Esso tankers, and it's not hugely more detailed than this really. So I was quite pleased overall with this. Underside, you've just got standard wheels with the holes in rather than spokes. But overall, it's a nice, neat little model. Next one, the little iron ore tippler. It's quite a plain little wagon, apart from the labels, which are really, really detailed. Very nice. And I've also noticed that all the detail on the side and underneath, like the brakes and the levers and everything, the braking system, all finely detailed. That's really good. The only downside of these is that they're empty. You can see the moulding marks inside. I'll just pick up the camera and show you that. There's moulding marks inside. It would be nice if these came with, you know, perhaps a couple of different packs of ore or coal or whatever load that you could put in. I know you can buy them, but to have it empty and have the moulding marks showing seems a bit of a letdown. But overall, it's a nice detailed little wagon. Another little open wagon from Breedon and Cloud Hill Lime Works, apparently. Some very fine detailed writing on there. It's nice to see the colouring on this is really nice. The sort of creamy yellow of the box, and then the grey underneath of all the braking systems and the axles and things. I do like that. Again, it's empty inside. You can see the planking inside and the terrible moulding marks, the circles in the corner again. It would be nice to have this actually full. Or, you know, to have the pack come with it to put the load in. But apart from that, it's a nice detailed little model. I like the colour scheme. And the last wagon in the mixed freight set is this little van. This was interesting to see this, and you'll see why in a moment. For me personally, I have noticed that it is actually of a similar standard to the Breedon and Cloud Hill wagon, and better than the tanker wagon, in that the brown colouring is not the moulded plastic. It's been painted, as is the roof. It's matte paint, gives a much better finish. There's a limited amount of lettering on there, but again, that's neat and tidy. And the underside is fairly standard. It's black for the axles and the braking system. That would be better if they were in matte as well, actually. But I guess these sort of things aren't weathered anyway, but they're not that bad. And the reason it's interesting is I've got another one to compare it to. What we have here then is the current wagon from the set 2011, and the ventilated van from about 30 years ago, this little individual wagon. You can immediately see that the plastic of the old one, the brown, is just not been painted. It's just the original brown colour of the plastic, and the writing is not as detailed. The base, the couplings, the wheels, the braking system, that's all pretty much identical in terms of detail. Maybe slightly more finer on the new one. But overall, obviously the new one's much better. The plastic has been painted and the detail's much finer. The other thing that's interesting about the old one, the 30-year-old one, is that it's got working doors. Doors on both sides actually open. At the time, I thought that was quite a good feature, because as a child it gives you something more to play with. You can put things inside. But I guess it kind of highlights the difference between then and now, in that Hornby Railways back then was a toy for children to play with, to put things inside the van, close the doors and drive around, whereas the new stuff is definitely into the realms of modelling rather than playing. But it makes an interesting comparison to see how things have changed over 30 years. And as a final point, the old one was made in England, which it says on the bottom, but the new one is made in China, which I think says quite a bit itself. A final comparison here between the diesel 08 shunter in the new set and an old class 08 shunter, which is number R156 from 30 years ago. And having a good look at them, it's clear straight away that the moulding, the tooling is identical for each. They are exactly identical in terms of the rivets and panels and the plastic that's been produced for both. So that's no change over 30 years. What has changed is that the new one looks like it's been painted. It's definitely been painted for the roof and obviously the wasp ends, and the connecting rod for the wheels has been painted. Interestingly, some detail on the old one that isn't on the new one is the little ladders on the front, which you can see there, are not on the new one. But the new one's got more painting. It's got the handrails painted and the overhead labels. I don't know the history of these too well, the actual real ones. It may be that those are from different time periods and such things. You know, the wasp ends and the other bits of colouring didn't exist on the older one, which is from a different time period, but the new one's definitely better, a lot better. It also hasn't got the silly momentum coupling system which the old one had, where if you came to a sudden stop it would uncouple by means of a counterweight, which was a pain in the bum. It really was. I much prefer the new one, but overall there's not a lot of difference. Just better painting and obviously a smoother running motor. It's a much smoother motor, but again it makes an interesting comparison of how things have changed over 30 years. Okay, this is the 08's lowest speed setting on the Select. It is really smooth, not at all jerky like the old ones used to be. Allows for really accurate shunting. And similarly, the slowest speed for the little Ginty engine. Again, really slow and smooth. Top speed for both these locos is unrealistic, obviously, but they do go quite fast if you want to have a bit of fun. A more normal speed, similar to the 08 earlier. You'll see there that the loco decelerated gradually because I've set acceleration and deceleration levels on the Hornby Select, which makes it more realistic. So here's both locos from the set on the same piece of track, and with Hornby Select we simply select the first engine we want, which is the green 08 diesel shunter, which is loco 1. Set the direction forward for that loco and then drive it away. While it's moving we can select loco 2, the black steam engine, and then drive that one away. We'll see both on the same piece of track. One of the obvious dangers with having multiple engines running on the same track is a collision, especially as it's hard to keep track in your mind of who's doing what. Hence the big red emergency stop button on the Hornby Select, which just cuts power to all the locos at the same time. They all stop, and then you can go about readjusting them individually. Well, here's both locos and all the rolling stock that you get with the set, which is the 4 wagons going round together on my current layout. Quite equally well matched there on DCC Select. The layout that I've got here is based on the track mat layout. It's the basic oval, which is the outer oval that you can see here, with extension A, which comes in the mixed freight set. Plus I've got packs B and C and some extra points and some other bits left over from the intercity action set. The basic oval isn't as wide as this. I've got some long sections in, obviously the station and goods yard and other bits and pieces I've got left over from the late 1970s. It's all working well together. Another interesting comparison to make the price. The intercity mail set, which is on the other video, was £20 in 1976, and looking online that's worth about £125 now, and the new set, this mixed freight set, was about £140. So it's the same kind of ballpark figure. So the price of sets hasn't changed a lot, but what you're getting is a lot better quality. You've got digital control, much better quality of wagons and locos. Overall it's a lovely set to get back into model railways, and particularly with the DCC control, which is much more realistic running several locos on the track, and is real good value for money, I think. Anybody out there thinking of rejoining after 30 years like me, this is definitely a set worth looking at. Bye for now and see you soon.